Hello and welcome again to this second unit of ethics, person's ethics. Now, at the moment that we are going to understand how and what is a moral act and why are different the moral act from other kind of acts. So, for doing so, we need to understand first what kind of acts there are in our lives. First, we have the human acts. These acts are based on free will and intelligence, or free intelligence also. What is that? What does that mean? Well, we have already seen that we can be free, or we have freedom in different kinds of ways. Therefore, if we have free will, that is the first kind of freedom that we talk about, and we also have free intelligence, the two main functions that we have in our body, that they are fundamental, then we act as a human act. You can tell me, well, every act that I do is human because I'm a human. No. Even though we are humans, we also act as men or as men. Why? What's the difference? These acts of men are different from the human acts because these acts of man are those acts that we do without the intention, because they don't have free will or free intelligence. They are natural and they are determined. For example, breathing is something that we cannot stop doing just because we want to. Even though I can say, and I stop breathing, yeah, but I can stop breathing for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 1 hour, 2 hours. No, it's nothing. It's something that naturally done in my body, and then my body does it. Sometimes we do this because we need to. For example, we don't determine when we are going to have or we feel drowsy. Nonetheless, we feel drowsy just because of that. Because we're tired, because we need to sleep or whatever. That's the difference between the human act and the act of man. Therefore, the moral act, it's an act, or it's a human act. Why? Because we have knowledge of what we are doing, so we have intelligence of the act, and also we have a consent. We consent the act. We have free will that is saying us yes or no to do the correct stuff or the incorrect stuff, to do the good things or the bad things. We need to have knowledge and consent, therefore intelligence and will. All those functions in our body that determines us by our nature, by our moral nature, our nature law, to act good or bad. If we are not applying our intelligence, or we are not applying our will, that it's something really, really difficult, we don't have a moral act. We have an act of man. To understand these elements of the moral act, we need to understand what the moral act as itself. For example, someone is stealing from someone else. So, we need to understand first if the person that is stealing know that the other stuff, for example, I am stealing this cell phone from my partner. Okay, I know that this cell phone, it doesn't belong to me. That's the level of information I have. So, this doesn't belong to me, or it does belong to me. It is good or bad to steal? Okay, that's the knowledge of the act. Then, the moral object. What am I doing? I'm stealing. That's the action or the inaction. For example, if another pal that is in front of us and she or he is looking at us and she or she doesn't say anything, her moral or his moral act is it's not saying, it's an inaction. In my case, stealing is an action. My motivation, why am I stealing it? Because I want it, it's the purpose or the goal. Because I want it, because I need the money, so I'm selling it because I need the money, because I need to make a call and then I will give him back the cell phone. What's your motivation to act? What are the circumstances? Maybe we are in a hurry because there was an earthquake and I need to call someone, so I'm taking his phone to call someone. All the external conditions that allow us to understand the act. The means may not justify the action, but they help us to understand it. all the elements I use. For example, in this case, I use my legs and my hands to go to the other office and steal it from the other person. Maybe I use a gun, a knife, whatever. Those are the means. And finally, the results. Do I obtain the cell phone or not? And what should I do with that? What are the responsibilities and the repercussions that belong to the results? So after making this evaluation of my act, I have different type of judgments. We can make type of judgments of facts. What have I done? Step by step, without judging anything but the elements. For example, Pablo went up his chair, walked to the other's office, entered the other office, took the cell phone, went back to his office and sat down in his chair. Purely descriptive. Not good, not bad. That's a judgment of fact. Returning to the previous presentation, I'm just describing what I did, the circumstances, the means, and the results. In this kind of acts, I do not say anything if it was good or bad, only that. Then we can make a judgment of value, where we imprint values, when we imprint our consequences and our knowledge and the value of the action. For example, Pablo was a really good thief because no one knew or no one noticed that he stole the. That was his judgment of value. Also, what Pablo did was wrong. It's not correct because stealing, it's a moral object. It's an immoral object, therefore it's wrong. So, understand and differentiate from judgments of fact that we are describing the action and judgment of value that imprint some values are completely different, and we can talk about them later. Until the next time, thank you very much.